2.
What's up, CrossFit Federal Way? It is Monday, start of another week, and we are getting closer to being able to work out together, as today is the day that our county is applying to broaden or loosen some of our restrictions a little bit more, and we will have some more details in the days to come as we hear back on approval on those applications before we can move to phase 2, where we know we're going to be able to reopen for phase 2 already once we get there. So let's take a look at the board and talk about what we're getting ourselves into today. Today is all about the Tabata and some dumbbells or kettlebells, depending on what implements you are using. And a quick reminder, Tabata is going to be 20 seconds on, so 20 seconds of work, 10-second rest, and you're doing 8 rounds. That means for every one of these movements, we're spending a total of 4 minutes there. So you've got work, rest, and then switch straight into the next Tabata. So you're not gonna have a minute rest in between or anything else like that. This is all about just try to work hard, keep moving, keep chipping away. But one of the things about Tabatas is do not pace them. Just to go, okay, well, I guess I can get 10 reps every 20 seconds of this, but I really could push myself and shoot for 15. Shoot for 15. Don't just choose 10. We're CrossFitters. We don't choose the easy way out. Don't pick the easy way out. Today, your score is your total number of reps across everything. So that should be encouragement to get as many reps as you can every time it's time to work. So let's look at what we're getting into. So again, Tabata, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 8 rounds of dumbbell or kettlebell snatch. Now, if we're doing the dumbbell, we're gonna alternate hands with that snatch. If I'm doing the kettlebell, I'm just gonna snatch on one side and then switch hands and continue to snatch on the other, because alternating with the kettlebell is clumsy, it's cumbersome, it's awkward. There's not a good way to do it, whereas the dumbbell, you can transition smoothly. So starting off with that snatch, then a Tabata, again, of dumbbell or kettlebell burpee with a deadlift instead of a jump on your burpee. So I will demo that when we get to the standards. And then a Tabata with a dumbbell or kettlebell push press. Again, if I'm doing this for 20 seconds, what I'm probably going to do is, at least at first, do all 20 seconds on one side and rest all 20 seconds on my next side. That way I'm not trying to figure out how to like switch hands or do anything like that. If I need to come down and change to get out a few more reps because I'm just blowing up my shoulders, that's a different story. But and then the last thing is a Tabata dumbbell squat clean. Now you'll notice this isn't a Tabata or kettlebell squat clean, because squat cleans with kettlebells can be a little funky. So if you are using kettlebells for this workout, I want you to do goblet squats or front like a front squat with your kettlebells if you're using 2. Because that squat clean can just be a little awkward and weird to actually catch those kettlebells in the bottom of that squat. So let's break it down and look at our movement standards. So again, 4 Tabatas, that's a total of 16 minutes on this workout. If you didn't work out for 16 minutes, you didn't do enough. If you worked out more than 16 minutes, congratulations, you just got some extra credit. But let's go look at each of these movements and talk about our standards. So I've got my 2 dumbbells on the ground. For most of these, I don't need both. The only one that I'm gonna need both is my burpee deadlift. 2 that I need both. My burpee deadlift and my squat clean are gonna need both, a dumbbell in each hand. Now, if I only have one, you can totally do that as single and switch it up. Since it's Tabata, it's time-based. So you could still, you'll be able to figure it out. One will be fine, trust me, it will be hard enough, but try to keep things balanced. Again, maybe picking sides. I'm gonna go right side on this set, left side on this set, just so that way you maintain a little bit of balance throughout that workout. So let's start off with that dumbbell snatch. And again, the dumbbell snatch, both heads on the dumbbell start on the floor. Every rep requires both heads to touch the floor before we go up again. So grabbing onto the dumbbell and a big jump up and catch it overhead. I can alternate either by coming down to the ground, changing hands, and back up, or I can switch on the way down. Now, when we look at the open and the standards in the open on a kettlebell, a dumbbell snatch, you cannot let go of that dumbbell over your head you have to bring it down and it has to hit eye level before it changes hands. So it takes a little bit of practice, but getting it up and starting to transition on the way down, it's a subtle difference between dropping when that dumbbell's here versus if I were to drop overhead and try to catch that dumbbell. If that goes south on me, that could be dicey and you could be dropping weight on your head. Finish position on that snatch. Arm is straight up and down. I'm not out in front with my dumbbell. It needs to be straight up and down in a solid position where I could hang out as though I just finished a press. And everything else is I'm nice and tall in this position. So that's our dumbbell snatch. Next movement is the burpee deadlift. So you will need both on this, ideally, if you have two dumbbells. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off with a burpee. Chest and thighs touch the floor. Come back up. Now instead of a jump at the top, I'm just gonna stand all the way up and deadlift both of my dumbbells off the floor. They come right back down into a burpee and into that deadlift. So, pretty simple, a little bit different stimulus than a jump. It's still at hip open that's going on. It's just gonna happen a little slower than if I were to actually jump off the floor. The next thing is our push press. Push press is gonna have that dumbbell in the front rack position. I'm gonna dip and drive, but since it's a push press and not a push jerk, can't rebend my knees. So dip and drive and lock out in that same finished position that I would for my dumbbell snatch. And I can go right back into my next rep. What I would do is when I finish that 20 seconds on my right side, I'm gonna rest for 10 seconds. I'm gonna go right back into the push press on my left side and try to keep moving. Again, legs stay locked out. I'm not rebending and jerking, so I gotta make sure, squeeze my quads once I drive to make sure I'm not gonna rebend my knees. And then the last thing is gonna be that dumbbell squat clean or the goblet squat. Now, ideally using both dumbbells again this time. For the squat clean, anytime I've got dumbbells or something like that, and I'm doing this movement, I don't like to start with the dumbbells between my legs. It makes getting into the squat weird. My feet are wide. It makes things a little awkward. So, if anything, my feet might start a little more narrow than I'm used to. And on these, only the one head of your dumbbell needs to touch the floor at the beginning of the rep. So from the start, I'm gonna come up and then go into my squat. Notice my feet widen out in the actual squat. That way when I come back down, take my feet back together and touch both heads of the dumbbell and come back up into that squat clean. Big things on that, it is a squat clean. That means you need to make sure that hip crease is below the top of your knee in the bottom of that squat. If you're not getting all the way down and you're above parallel, those aren't good reps. So keep in mind that that doesn't change. Just because it's a squat clean, and I can easily power clean that, doesn't mean power cleans are good. So, yeah, again, Tabata, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 8 rounds. That's 4 minutes per movement. You are finishing your 4 minutes on the snatch before you go to your burpee deadlift and so on and so forth. So you can't just alternate. It's not snatch for 20 seconds, then burpee for 20 seconds. You're gonna do all one movement for the entire 4 minutes. So that's what we're getting ourselves into. This one's gonna be a doozy. Know that it's gonna get real hard real fast. It's gonna stay that way. It's only 16 minutes of your life. Gut it out. It's gonna be a great way to start our week. So with that in mind, let's get after it.